A simple test at the age of 3 can predict if children will grow up to be a burden on society. Scientists claim a study has found roughly a fifth of the population are responsible for 81% of criminal convictions, 77% of children brought up without fathers, 2/3 of benefits claimed, and more than half of nights spent in hospital. This small group of people drain the public purse, but researchers at King's College London say their troubled lives could be forecast from early childhood. It takes just 45 minutes to give 3-year-olds a battery of tests on their language abilities, motor skills, frustration and impulsivity. Decades after taking the test, children who scored low were far more likely to fall within the most burdensome group. They were also more likely to smoke, be obese and take prescription drugs. The findings, while controversial for indicating that someone's life path is set in their early years, suggests reaching these at-risk children young could turn things around. Professor Terry Moffat of King's College and Duke University in California said about 20% of the population is using the lion's share of a wide array of public services. The same people use most of the NHS, the criminal courts, the claims for disabling injury, pharmaceutical prescriptions and social welfare benefits. If we stop there, it might be fair to think these are lazy bums living off the taxpayer and exploiting the public purse. But we also went further to look back into their childhoods of the people in our study, and we found that this 20% began their lives with mild problems with brain function and brain health when they were very small children at the age of 3. She added, "It gives you a feeling of compassion for these people as opposed to a feeling of blame." The study was carried out within the New Zealand population, as there are barriers to accessing birth studies to compare with state records in the UK. Researchers looked at more than 1,000 people born between 1972 and 1973, following them up to the age of 38. The results show children with lower brain function aged 3 were 38% more likely to claim benefits and 22% more likely to be feckless fathers. Their chances of being a smoker were 25% higher, and they were 15% more likely to end up overweight. This is based on 4 key tests, including the Peabody Picture Vocabulary Test asking children to name images and the Raynal Test of Speech asking them to describe pictures in more depth. Children's motor skills were checked by asking them to walk in a straight line or stand on one leg. But crucially, during these tests, children were monitored for how well they managed their emotions while carrying out stressful tasks, including their frustration, restlessness, impulsivity and persistence. Explaining the results, co-author Professor Avshalom Caspi of King's College and Duke's University said, "Essentially these children were functioning like a 2.5-year-old. They were 6 months behind. For these individuals, life is really an uphill battle. Opportunities are limited and mastering new skills is not easy. These early difficulties have a snowballing effect. The finding that many of these children become the 20% most costly for society is based on the Pareto principle, which is also called the 80-20 rule." Italian engineer and social scientist Vilfredo Pareto observed a century ago that 80% of wealth is controlled by 20% of the population, and that this proportion applies to many other areas of life. Josh Illman, director of education at the Nuffield Foundation, which was not involved in the research, said the 20% should be helped early in life. He called for disadvantaged children to be signed up to nursery school with qualified teachers from an early age, adding, "These are the children who stand to benefit the most from the support of the education system. These are the children you can make the most difference with, in terms of the children themselves and the payback for the public purse."